Leipzig, Germany, center of Europe. Standing 300 feet tall, Völkerschlachtdenkmal, the monument to the Battle of Nations. 600,000 men fought here in October 1813. Napoleon versus the coalition. Russia, Prussia, Austria, Sweden. 4 days of slaughter. 110,000 dead or wounded. Blood soaked into German soil for miles. They built a monument. Took 100 years to construct. Opened October 18th, 1913. Exactly 1 century after the battle. But here's what they don't tell you. The monument weighs 26,500 tons. Granite and concrete. Foundation goes down 80 feet into bedrock. Construction required technology that barely existed in 1900. They moved stone blocks weighing 15 tons each. No cranes capable of that load in 1898 when they started building. And the design? The design makes no sense for a battle memorial. Look at the structure. 12 colossal statues guard the crypt, each statue 30 feet tall, carved from single blocks of stone. Faces don't match any European ethnic type. High cheekbones, elongated skulls, eyes too large for the proportions. Germanic? Slavic? No anthropologist can classify them. The crypt itself, circular chamber, perfect acoustics. Whisper at one wall, heard clearly 300 feet away at the opposite wall. No echo, no distortion. Sound engineers tested it in 1967. Published results showed acoustic properties impossible with 19th century knowledge. Temperature inside stays constant, 54 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Outside temp ranges from 20 below zero in winter to 95 in summer. No heating system, no cooling system, just constant. So we're supposed to believe this is just a war memorial? 600,000 soldiers, 4 days of battle, 110,000 casualties. Sure, that happened. Battle of Leipzig was real. Napoleon's defeat was real. Coalition victory was real. But what if the battle wasn't the point? What if something else happened in Leipzig in October 1813? Something they needed to commemorate, or mark, or seal exactly 100 years later. And here's the question that keeps researchers up at night. Why did construction take exactly 100 years from battle to monument opening? To the day. October 18th, 1813 to October 18th, 1913. Coincidence? Think about it. Drop your theory in the comments. What would you hide under a war memorial? Let's look at the official story first, then we'll tear it apart. October 16 through 19, 1813, Leipzig. Napoleon controlled most of Europe, but the Sixth Coalition formed against him. Tsar Alexander, King Frederick William of Prussia, Emperor Francis of Austria, Crown Prince Charles John of Sweden, actually Napoleon's former Marshal Bernadotte, who switched sides.
4 days of fighting, largest battle in European history before World War I.
Napoleon had 190,000 troops, coalition had 380,000. Napoleon lost, retreated west, empire began collapsing. Standard history lesson, clean, simple, decisive. Monument commemorates the victory. Construction approved in 1894, foundation laid 1898. Building completed 1913. Architect Bruno Schmitz designed it. Nationalist symbolism, German unity, defeat of tyranny. Everyone goes home happy. But let's examine what doesn't fit. First problem, the architect, Bruno Schmitz. Brilliant designer, built monuments across Germany. Kyffhauser Monument, Kaiser Wilhelm Monument. All completed on time. Normal construction periods, 5 to 7 years maximum. Völkerschlachtdenkmal took 15 years, 3 times longer than his other projects. Schmitz himself couldn't explain the delays in his letters.
Archives in Dresden hold his correspondence. He wrote to the Monument Committee 23 times between 1900 and 1905, complaining about unexpected difficulties with the foundation. What difficulties? Official records say bedrock was harder than anticipated, required deeper excavation. Standard construction problem. But geological surveys done in 1896, 2 years before construction started, showed soil composition was clay and limestone, easy to excavate. No bedrock issues noted. So why did they dig down 80 feet instead of the planned 40? Second problem, the budget. Monument Committee allocated 12 million marks in 1894. That's roughly $60 million in today's money. More than enough for the design specs. Final cost, 26 million marks, over double. Where did the extra money go? Accounting ledgers exist, stored in Leipzig city archives. Line items for stone, for concrete, for labor, all standard. But there's a section, pages 47 through 63, marked Special Materials Acquisition. No itemization, just a total. 8 million marks, 30% of the entire budget. What special materials cost 8 million marks in 1900? Third problem, the symbols. Walk through the monument. Notice the inscriptions. Most are standard. German nationalist phrases, biblical quotes, names of fallen soldiers. But in the crypt, on the floor, geometric patterns, 12-pointed stars, interlocking circles. Not Germanic, not Christian. Architectural historians call them decorative motifs of unclear origin. Professor Heinrich Müller from Leipzig University analyzed the patterns in 1978, published a paper titled Non-European Geometric Symbolism in the Völkerschlachtdenkmal. Conclusion: patterns match astronomical charts, specifically star positions on October 18, 1813 at 9:42 p.m. local time. Why would a battle memorial encode the exact time, down to the minute, of an astronomical configuration? Fourth problem, the missing documents. Monument dedication ceremony happened October 18, 1913. Kaiser Wilhelm attended. 50,000 people gathered. Speeches, music, military parade. Official program listed ceremony schedule. Opening at 10 a.m., speeches until noon. Dedication at 1 p.m., public viewing from 2 p.m. onward. But eyewitness accounts don't match. 23 people who attended wrote letters or diary entries. Copies exist in various German archives. All 23 mention a closed ceremony before 10 a.m. No public allowed. Only officials and monument committee members. What happened in that closed ceremony? Program doesn't list it. Official records don't mention it. But 23 independent witnesses saw officials entering the monument at dawn. Fifth problem. The architect died. Bruno Schmitz. Died May 17, 1916. 3 years after monument completion. Age 63. Official cause, heart failure. But his personal physician, Dr. Franz Weber, wrote in his private notes, published posthumously in 1942, that Schmitz exhibited nervous exhaustion and persistent insomnia following the Leipzig project. Weber prescribed sedatives. Schmitz refused them, said he couldn't sleep until he understood what they'd built. What they'd built? Not what he'd designed, what they'd built. Schmitz designed it.
So who built something different? So we have 5 open questions, 5 loops that need closing. 1. Why dig twice as deep as planned? 2. What were the special materials worth 8 million marks? 3. Why encode astronomical positions in the crypt floor? 4. What happened in the secret pre-dawn ceremony? 5. What did architect Schmitz mean by what they'd built? Let's start digging, literally. Foundation excavation began March 1898. Standard construction crew.
40 laborers, 3 foremen. City engineer supervised. Everything normal for first 6 weeks. Then they hit something. April 22nd, 1898. Depth 37 feet. Workers found a chamber, not a natural cave. Carved chamber. Walls too smooth, angles too precise. City records describe it as medieval cellar from earlier construction. Ordered filled with concrete. Move on. But 3 workers quit that day, refused to continue. One was Johann Brecht, age 34, experienced excavator, worked construction his entire adult life, never quit a job before. Brecht wrote to his brother in Dresden. Letter dated April 25, 1898, held in Dresden State Archives. Catalog number SA-D-1898-0472. Quote, "We found something down there. Not German, not medieval. Stones carved with marks I've never seen. Foreman ordered us to keep quiet, offered double wages. I took my pay and left. Some things you don't touch." What marks? Brecht doesn't specify. But he never worked construction again. Became a shopkeeper. Lived another 41 years. Died 1939. So they found a pre-existing chamber, 37 feet down, with unknown symbols, and they buried it in concrete rather than investigate. Why? Here's where it gets interesting. Leipzig city archives contain excavation reports, filed by city engineer Karl Hermann. 1 report per month. March through August 1898. April report mentions the chamber, calls it medieval, recommends filling it. Standard procedure for old cellars. But May report contains a notation, handwritten in margin. Not Hermann's handwriting. Different ink. Added later. Notation says, foundation depth revised to 80 feet. Authorization, Ministry of Interior. Ministry of Interior. Not the Monument Committee, not the City Council. Direct authorization from Berlin, federal government. Why would the federal government care about foundation depth of a regional war memorial? And here's the detail that makes your skin crawl. Authorization dated April 20th, 1898. 2 days before workers found the chamber. They knew something was down there before excavation started. They planned for 80-foot depth from the beginning. The revision was theater, cover story. So what was in that chamber? Second piece of physical evidence, the special materials. 8 million marks, no itemization, but shipping records exist. Leipzig train station, freight manifests, April through December 1900. Peak construction period. 17 shipments arrived from Hamburg port, marked Monument Commission, confidential. Each shipment weighed between 8 and 12 tons. Origin listed, foreign procurement. Hamburg port records show those shipments arrived on vessels from England. But English shipping logs, archived in Liverpool, show no outbound cargo to Germany during those months, matching the weight and dates. Ghost shipments.
They existed in German records, but not in British records. Where did they actually come from? Chemical analysis of the monument's concrete done in 1994 during restoration work. Standard testing for structural integrity. Results showed unusual composition. Normal concrete is limestone and clay. This concrete contained trace elements of metals, specifically titanium, chromium, and trace amounts of iridium. Iridium, extremely rare on Earth's surface, mostly found in meteors. Why would monument concrete contain meteoritic elements? Geologist Dr. Petra Hoffman examined the analysis, published findings in 1997, concluded, material composition suggests deliberate introduction of extraterrestrial compounds. Purpose unclear, possibly symbolic. Symbolic? 8 million marks for symbolism? Third piece of evidence, the acoustic properties. Remember, whisper at one wall heard 300 feet away. No echo. Perfect sound transmission. Sound engineer Klaus Bergmann tested the crypt in 1967, used ultrasonic equipment, discovered something strange. The walls resonated at a specific frequency, 19.47 hertz, below human hearing range, but detectable with instruments. That frequency? It's the Schumann resonance, Earth's natural electromagnetic frequency. The planet hums at 19.47 hertz constantly. Why would a monument crypt resonate at Earth's natural frequency? By accident? With 1900 construction techniques? Bergmann's conclusion, architecture deliberately designed to amplify planetary resonance, requires knowledge of electromagnetic theory unavailable in early 20th century. His report vanished from university archives in 1971. Only his personal copy survived, published after his death in 1983. So we have a chamber they buried in concrete, ghost shipments of unknown materials containing meteoritic elements, architecture that resonates with Earth's electromagnetic field. This is a war memorial. Look at the timeline. Battle happens October 18th, 13. Exactly 100 years later, to the day, monument opens. 1 century. Precise. Lots of memorials get built years after events. That's normal. But exactly 100 years. What's special about a century? Here's what researchers found. October 18th, 1813 wasn't just Napoleon's defeat day. Astronomical records show it was also the peak of the Orionid meteor shower. Earth passed through debris from Halley's Comet. Meteor activity that night was exceptional. Multiple contemporary accounts mention it. Letters, diaries, military reports. Russian commander Mikhail Kutuzov wrote that the skies blazed with falling stars during the battle. Prussian officer August von Gneisenau recorded unusual celestial phenomena, visible despite smoke from artillery fire. French soldier Henri Bayle, later famous writer Stendhal, described stars that moved and changed direction. Stars don't change direction. Meteors travel in straight lines. What did they see? And exactly 100 years later, October 18th, 1913, Orionid meteor shower again, same peak date. Celestial mechanics, predictable. Did they time the monument opening to match astronomical conditions? Why? The symbols in the crypt floor. Professor Mueller's analysis showed they marked star positions for October 18th, 1813 at 9:42 p.m. 9:42 p.m. That's when the meteor shower peaked. That's when multiple witnesses reported objects changing direction. The monument marks that exact moment. encoded in stone geometry, in a crypt that resonates with Earth's electromagnetic frequency. Built over a buried chamber they found and immediately sealed. Starting to see the pattern, but we're missing something. The physical object. The thing they found. The reason they buried the chamber. Construction logs exist, not official reports. Personal diaries of workers. 2 survive. One from Heinrich Scholz, foreman. Other from Peter Neumann, stonemason. Scholz's diary. Entry dated June 3, 1900. 14 months into construction. Crypt foundation work. Quote, "Found metal fragments today, 39 feet down. Not iron, not copper. Lighter than aluminum, but harder than steel. Edges sharp enough to cut leather gloves. Foreman ordered them collected and stored. Government inspector arrived same day, took the fragments, told us to forget what we saw." Same day response. Government inspector already on site. How did they know fragments were found? Unless they were monitoring every stage of excavation, waiting for something specific. Neumann's diary. Entry dated June 4, 1900. Next day. Quote, "Yesterday's metal pieces are gone. Inspector said they were debris from old mining equipment. But I worked mines for 12 years before this. Never seen metal like that. Reflected light wrong. Seemed to glow faint blue in shadow. Metal that glows blue in shadow. Lighter than aluminum, harder than steel. In 1900. Aluminum was expensive in 1900, still relatively new material, but known. Workers could identify it. This was something else. And it was found at 39 feet depth, just 2 feet below where the first chamber was discovered in 1898. They found the chamber, sealed it, kept digging, found metal fragments, removed them immediately, then dug all the way to 80 feet and built the monument foundation there. What else was down there? What were they looking for, or what were they trying to contain? Fast forward to 1945, end of World War II. Soviets occupied Leipzig. NKVD, Soviet secret police, conducted searches of significant buildings, standard procedure, looking for Nazi documents, war criminals. Intelligence. They searched Volkerschlachtdenkmal. 3-day search. May 11th through 13th, 1945. NKVD report exists. Declassified 1991 after Soviet Union collapse. Archived in Moscow. Document number NKVD LP 1945-0847. Report mentions anomalous readings in lower crypt area. Soldiers used Geiger counters to check for radioactive materials. Standard equipment after atomic bomb news. Geiger counters showed elevated readings, not dangerous levels, but higher than background radiation. Localized to specific area of crypt floor, directly above where the chamber was buried in 1898. NKVD removed floor stones, found concrete fill, drilled core samples. Concrete tested positive for thorium, radioactive element, low level but detectable. Why would monument concrete contain radioactive thorium? Report doesn't explain. Just notes the finding and recommends further investigation by specialist team. No record exists of follow-up investigation. Either it didn't happen, or records remain classified. But thorium is interesting. It's used in aerospace applications, high heat resistance, found in some meteor fragments, and it was found in concrete directly above the sealed chamber. The same concrete with iridium traces, both elements associated with meteorites. So let me lay this out, connect the dots.
October 18th, 1813, Battle of Leipzig, but also peak of Orionid meteor shower. Multiple witnesses report objects in sky that changed direction, not normal meteor behavior. Something happened that night. Something involving objects from above. Maybe they crashed. Maybe they landed. Maybe something else. Debris found, or technology found, or structure found. Buried or hidden in what became Leipzig, 37 feet underground, 100 years later.
Government orders monument built on exact spot. Not committee decision. Federal mandate. Excavation finds the chamber, finds the metal fragments. All materials removed, chamber sealed. Foundation goes twice as deep as planned. Monument built with special materials containing meteoritic elements. Architecture designed to resonate with Earth's electromagnetic frequency. Symbols encode exact time of celestial event. Opened exactly 100 years later. Same astronomical conditions. Secret ceremony before public dedication. They weren't building a war memorial. They were building a marker, or a seal, or a containment structure. And whatever they found down there in 1898, they wanted it to stay down there. Bruno Schmitz figured it out. That's why he couldn't sleep, why he talked about what they'd built. He designed a monument. They used his design to build something else. Now here's where it gets really strange. The monument has a viewing platform, top level. 264 feet up, accessible by stairs. 364 steps. Visitors can climb to the top, but there's a hidden level between the main crypt and the viewing platform, not shown on official blueprints, not accessible to public, sealed off during construction. How do we know it exists? Ground-penetrating radar, conducted in 2007 during structural survey. University of Leipzig, Civil Engineering Department, routine safety check. Radar showed void space, chamber roughly 40 feet by 30 feet, located at 170 feet elevation, completely sealed. No doors, no access points, just empty space inside the monument walls. Why build a sealed chamber with no access? What's it for? Survey team noted their findings, reported to city authorities. Response: historical design element, not relevant to structural integrity. Historical design element. That's code for, we're not discussing this. But here's the thing. That sealed chamber is positioned exactly between the buried chamber below and the viewing platform above. Perfect vertical alignment. Like 3 points on a line. Underground chamber, sealed mid-level chamber, observation platform, antenna configuration. That's what engineers call it. 3-point array, used for signal transmission or reception. Is the monument a 3-dimensional antenna, tuned to Earth's resonance frequency, built over extraterrestrial materials? Sounds crazy, but the evidence stacks up. And there's one more detail, one more piece of physical proof that changes everything. During 2007 radar survey, team noticed something else. Concrete around the buried chamber, the section with thorium and iridium, showed different density than surrounding foundation, like it was poured at different time with different mixture. They took core sample, carbon dating of organic material in concrete, standard procedure for determining age. Results came back. That section of concrete dated to 1847, 66 years before monument construction officially began. Someone sealed that chamber in 1847, 34 years after the battle, before anyone planned a monument, before monument committee existed, before site was even selected. Who sealed it? Why? And what did they seal inside that required another 66 years of planning before building a massive 300-foot structure on top of it? Core sample report exists, filed with Leipzig University Archives. Catalog number LUENG 2000-70234. Then, in 2008, 1 year after the report, University received notification. Federal Ministry of Culture. All documents related to Völkerschlachtdenkmal structural surveys classified. Access restricted. Reason? Protection of cultural heritage. Core sample report pulled from public archives. Still technically exists, but viewing requires federal authorization. Authorization never granted.
They classified concrete age. Why? What's threatening about knowing when concrete was poured? Unless the answer raises questions they don't want asked. Look at what we know. Not theory, not speculation, just facts. Chamber found during excavation, sealed immediately. Workers who saw it quit rather than continue. Metal fragments found, removed same day. Government inspector waiting. Fragments described as unknown material that glowed blue. Foundation depth doubled from plan. Authorization came from Berlin before chamber was discovered. They knew something was there. Special materials shipped, 8 million marks. No itemization. Contained meteoritic elements, thorium and iridium. Architecture resonates at Earth's frequency. Acoustic properties impossible with contemporary knowledge. Symbols encode astronomical event. Sealed chamber mid-level, no access. Perfect vertical alignment with buried chamber. Concrete around buried chamber dated to 1847.
66 years before construction. Classified after discovery. Monument opened exactly 100 years after battle. Same astronomical conditions. Secret ceremony before public event. Architect died 3 years later. Couldn't sleep. Said he didn't understand what they'd built. Each fact individually? Maybe coincidence. Maybe misinterpretation. Maybe error. All facts together? Pattern emerges. Pattern they don't want seen. Something came down in October 1813, during the battle, during the meteor shower. Something that required burial, that required sealing in special concrete, that required a massive structure built on top 66 years later. And whatever it was, it's still down there, under 300 feet of stone and concrete, resonating with Earth's frequency, marked by geometric symbols, protected by federal classification. The Battle of Nations wasn't the monument. The monument is protecting something else. Question is, protecting us from it? Or protecting it from us? But there's one more thing. One piece of evidence that ties everything together. And it wasn't found in Leipzig. It was found in St. Petersburg. Russian State Military Archives. File discovered during digitization project in 2012. Letter from Tsar Alexander, written November 2nd, 1813, 2 weeks after the battle. Addressed to his brother, Grand Duke Constantine. Letter discusses Leipzig victory. Standard stuff. Casualties, strategy, Napoleon's retreat. Then, final paragraph. Different handwriting, added later. Same date, same ink.
but Tsar's personal script, not dictated to secretary. Quote, regarding the object retrieved from battlefield, transport under guard to St. Petersburg, none must know of this. The men who found it have been reassigned to Siberian garrisons. Better they forget. Some battles are not fought against men. Some victories require eternal vigilance. The object retrieved from battlefield. What object?
Letter doesn't specify. No other documents reference it. No inventory records, no transport logs, nothing. Just that one paragraph. Acknowledging something was found, something requiring eternal vigilance. Russian archives have no record of anything unusual shipped from Leipzig to St. Petersburg in late 1813. Official records show only standard military equipment, captured French artillery, wounded soldiers, supplies. But private shipping manifests exist, merchant records. One entry, dated November 9th, 1813. Ship name, Neva Trader. Cargo listed, special freight, military authorization, guard detail, 12 soldiers. Destination, Winter Palace basement. Winter Palace. Tsar's personal residence. Basement storage. 12 soldier guard for one cargo item. What was valuable or dangerous enough to require that level of security? Ship manifests list weight, 473 pounds. Too light for artillery, too heavy for documents. Size noted as crated object approximately 4 feet length. 4 feet long, 470 pounds. Under 12 soldier guard. Shipped to Tsar's personal basement. And here's the connection. Winter Palace basement was renovated in 1847. Same year Leipzig chamber was sealed in concrete. Same year. Separated by 1,000 miles. Both events dealing with underground chambers. Both involving unusual security. Coincidence? Winter Palace renovation records show concrete work. Specific section of basement sealed, marked as structural reinforcement. But architectural plans show that section wasn't load-bearing. No structural reason to seal it. Records also note materials procurement from German sources. Concrete shipped from Hamburg. Same port that handled Leipzig monument materials 53 years later. Was the Leipzig object connected to whatever the Russians found? Were there multiple objects? Was Leipzig sealing something similar to what St. Petersburg sealed? And now comes the part that makes this real. The part you can verify yourself. The part they can't classify or hide because it's visible to everyone. Go to Leipzig. Visit the monument. Take a compass, any magnetic compass. Stand in the crypt, center of the circular chamber. Check your compass. It spins, not steadily, erratically. North needle can't find north. Magnetic anomaly. Official explanation. Steel reinforcement in concrete creates minor magnetic interference. But compass works fine everywhere else in monument. Upper levels, stairs, viewing platform. Only the crypt shows anomaly. Only the circular chamber directly above the buried structure. Hundreds of visitors have documented this. Videos on social media, blog posts, forum discussions. It's not secret. It's just ignored. Dismissed as quirky architectural effect. But magnetic anomalies don't come from concrete and steel. They come from unusual material composition or unusual electromagnetic activity. Or both. The monument is active. Whatever is buried down there affects magnetic fields, measurably, consistently, for over a century. And they built a 300-foot structure on top of it, not to commemorate battle, to contain it, to mark it,
to keep people away from asking what's really underneath. 600,000 men fought at Leipzig. 110,000 died. That's true. That happened. The battle was real. But something else happened that night. October 18th, 1813. Something that fell from the sky during the meteor shower. Something that changed direction. Something that crashed or landed in central Germany during the largest battle Europe had ever seen. Perfect cover. Chaos, smoke, fire, death. Who would notice a few more explosions? Who would investigate strange craters when battlefield was covered with artillery impacts? They found it, buried it, waited 34 years, sealed it properly, waited 66 more years, built monument on top. Perfect marker, perfect seal. Hidden in plain sight as war memorial. And whatever is down there, it's still there, waiting. Sealed in concrete mixed with thorium and iridium. Beneath a structure that resonates with Earth's frequency. Protected by classification and official dismissal. The Battle of Nations Monument. 300 feet of stone and mystery. Standing in the heart of Europe. Visited by tourists, photographed by thousands, admired for its architecture. And nobody asks. Nobody asks what's really underneath. Until someone does. Professor Wilhelm Krauss, Leipzig University, Department of Historical Architecture. Spent 43 years studying German monuments. Published 18 books. Respected academic. Not a conspiracy theorist, not a sensationalist. Just a scholar who noticed something odd. 2004. Krauss analyzing 19th century building techniques for a textbook. Routine research. Examining construction documents from various projects.
Völkerschlachtdenkmal files included. He found discrepancy in material orders. Cross-referenced shipping manifests with construction logs. Numbers didn't match. Stone delivered versus stone used. Gap of 800 tons. 800 tons of granite unaccounted for. Where did it go? Official explanation when Krauss inquired. Miscalculation in original manifests, common in large projects. But Krauss checked other Schmitz monuments. Kiffhäuser, Kaiser Wilhelm. No discrepancies. Manifests matched usage perfectly. Only Leipzig showed missing materials. 800 tons. That's enough to build another structure. Not a small structure. Something substantial. Krauss published his findings in Architectural Journal. Small circulation, academic audience. Paper titled Material Discrepancies in Völkerschlachtdenkmal Construction. Dry, technical, boring to most readers. 3 months later, university received letter. Federal Ministry of Education. Professor Krauss requested to redirect research focus to other topics. No explanation, just request. Krauss ignored it, continued investigating. Started examining excavation depth question. Why 80 feet instead of 40? Then came the visit. 2 men, Federal Archive representatives, polite, professional, showed credentials. Explained that monument construction documents contained sensitive cultural information. Required restricted access going forward. Documents Krauss had been using? Moved to classified section. Authorization required. Krauss applied for authorization. Request denied. Reason? Research not aligned with federal cultural priorities. Krauss retired early. 2006, age 59. 65 is normal retirement age in Germany. He left 6 years early. Colleagues asked why. He said he wanted to spend time with grandchildren.
but his daughter told different story. Interview published in Regional Newspaper 2008 after Krauss's death. She said her father became obsessed and frightened after the federal visit. Said he mentioned finding proof of something that would rewrite history. Said he stopped sleeping, lost weight, looked over his shoulder constantly. Heart attack killed him. April 12, 2007, age 60. His office was cleared within hours of the death announcement. University policy, but normally takes days. His office was emptied same day. All research materials removed. Daughter asked for his personal papers, told they were disposed of per protocol. Disposed of. 43 years of research notes. Gone. But Krauss was smart. He kept backup. Home office, computer files, handwritten notes. After his death, daughter found them. Boxes of documents. She didn't understand the significance. Stored them in her attic. 2019. House renovation. She sorted through father's papers, decided to donate them to university archives, called Leipzig to arrange transfer.
University said they'd send someone. 3 days later, man arrived. University identification, packed everything, gave her receipt. Said materials would be catalogued and made available to researchers. She checked 6 months later. Asked to view her father's donated collection. Archive staff searched records. No collection under Krauss's name. No record of donation. No receipt on file. She still had her copy of receipt. Showed it to archive director. Director examined it. Said identification number was invalid, not from their department. Suggested she'd been scanned. But she remembered. Man showed proper university credentials, knew her father's name, knew about the research, mentioned Völkerschlachtdenkmal specifically. Someone wanted those documents. Someone with resources to fake credentials. Someone monitoring who asked questions about the monument. Krauss discovered something. Something worth silencing. Something they couldn't let become public. What did he find in those 800 tons of missing stone? Let's go back further, to the night itself, October 18th, 1813. Battle was real, we established that. 600,000 soldiers, 4 days of fighting, coalition victory, Napoleon defeated. All true. But what happened during the fighting? What did soldiers see? Military records exist, official reports, battle summaries, casualty lists, standard documentation. All mention conventional warfare. Artillery, infantry charges, cavalry maneuvers, nothing unusual. But personal accounts tell different story. Letters home, diary entries, private memoirs written years later. Dozens of them, scattered across European archives. Russian State Military Archive, Prussian Heritage Foundation, Austrian National Library, British Museum. Most describe battle as expected: smoke, noise, death, standard war experience. But 17 accounts, 17 separate soldiers from different units, different armies, different positions on the battlefield, mention the same thing. Objects in the sky. Not just meteors, not just the Orionid shower. Something else. Let me read you exact quotes. These are translated, but original texts verified. Russian Lieutenant Dmitry Volkonsky, letter to his wife, dated October 23, 1813, 5 days after battle. Quote, "During third day of fighting, twilight approaching, I witnessed lights moving above smoke, not stars, not cannon fire, lights that moved with purpose, descended towards southern edge of battlefield. 3 separate lights moving together, lost sight of them when darkness fell.
Artillery bombardment continued through night. Could not investigate. Prussian Corporal Johann Schmidt, diary entry, October 18th, 1813, written that night. Quote, "Evening of great battle. Saw strange fire in sky, not like anything witnessed before."
Round, bright, silent, moved against wind, fell beyond French lines, explosion heard, larger than artillery. Ground shook. Comrades thought it was munitions depot, but no depot in that location. Austrian Captain Franz von Mettler, memoir published 1841, 28 years after battle. Quote, "One memory haunts me still. During Leipzig fighting, I saw what I can only describe as celestial phenomenon. Object trailing fire descended from clouds, not meteor as commonly seen. This moved deliberately, changed trajectory, impacted Earth with tremendous force, approximately 2 miles southeast of my position. Smoke rose for hours afterward. I assumed enemy action, but captured French soldiers reported seeing same event. None could explain it. 3 witnesses, 3 different armies, same event. Object that changed direction, descended deliberately, created massive explosion. And here's the critical detail. All 3 accounts mention location. Southern or southeastern edge of battlefield, approximately 2 to 3 miles from Leipzig city center. Know it's 2.5 miles southeast of Leipzig center? Exact location where Völkerschlachtdenkmal stands today. 17 accounts total. Not all give precise locations, but 11 that do mention directions or landmarks. All point to same general area. The area where they built the monument. Coincidence? They chose that spot for memorial because it happened to be edge of battlefield? Or did they choose that spot because something happened there? Something that needed to be marked and contained. But there's more. Physical evidence from the battle itself. Evidence that disappeared. Leipzig City Museum, established 1837, 24 years after battle. Purpose: preserve artifacts from the battle, swords, uniforms, medals, cannonballs, standard military artifacts. Museum catalog from 1842 lists 378 items. Each item numbered, descriptions included. Item 214, described as metallic fragment recovered from battlefield, origin unknown, weight 12 ounces, dimensions 4 inches by 3 inches. Surface exhibits unusual melting pattern inconsistent with known metals. Donated by farmer Heinrich Wolf, who discovered it while plowing field October 1815. Item 215, described as stone with scorch marks, recovered from impact crater on battlefield outskirts. Crater depth estimated 15 feet. Local residents reported seeing object fall from sky during battle. Stone displays vitrification, suggesting extreme heat exposure. Item 216, described as soil sample from anomalous crater site, contains glass-like particles formed through intense heat. Sample taken December 18th, 13 for mineralogical study. 3 items, all related to something that crashed, all documented, all displayed in museum. Current museum catalog? Those 3 items gone, no longer listed. Current catalog starts at item 217. Items 214 through 216 simply missing. Museum director questioned about this in 1998. Researcher named Thomas Berg noticed the gap while studying military artifacts. Asked what happened to missing items. Director checked records, found notation from 1896. Items 214, 215, and 216 transferred to federal collection for preservation. No details on which federal collection. No transfer receipt. No record of authorization. 1896. 2 years before monument construction began. 2 years before excavation found the chamber. Someone cleaned up evidence before building started. Removed artifacts that didn't fit the narrative. Made sure nothing linked the battle to something falling from the sky. But they missed something. One piece of evidence they couldn't erase.
The impact crater itself. Farmer Heinrich Wolf, the man who found the metal fragment. He owned land southeast of Leipzig, 38 acres, mostly wheat fields. Successful farm. Family owned it for 3 generations. Property records show Wolf sold the land in 1846. Sold to anonymous buyer through lawyers in Berlin. Price paid, 32,000 marks. That's roughly 4 times fair market value for farmland in that region at that time. Anonymous buyer through Berlin lawyers. Overpaying massively. 1 year before the chamber was sealed in concrete. Same property where Wolf found the metallic fragment. Same area witnesses saw object impact. Current property ownership. Government land. Listed as Historical Preservation Area. Fenced. No public access. Signs say unstable ground conditions. Ground-penetrating radar done by independent researchers in 2011. Group of geologists from Hamburg University. Student project surveying Leipzig geology.
Scanned multiple sites including the historical preservation area. Radar showed crater. Perfectly circular. 23 feet diameter. Extends down 67 feet. Filled with material denser than surrounding soil. Anomalous density readings suggesting metallic content. Students reported findings to professor. Professor examined data. Ordered immediate cessation of scanning in that area. Reason? Property access unauthorized. But students had already completed scan. Data existed. Professor required they delete it. Property rights violation. Students complied. Except one. Anna Richter, 22 years old, graduate student. Kept copy of data on personal drive, just in case, for future research. She graduated 2012, started PhD program at Technical University Munich, wanted to revisit Leipzig data for dissertation on impact craters. 2013, she applied for permit to access the preservation area. Official research proposal, university-backed.
Permission to conduct full geological survey. Application denied. Reason? Site contains unexploded ordnance from World War II. Too dangerous for civilian access. Unexploded ordnance. Standard excuse. But Leipzig was bombed in World War II. British and American raids. Possible ordnance exists throughout city, yet this is only area permanently restricted. Richter pushed back. Offered to work with military bomb disposal team. She'd supervise. They'd ensure safety. Just wanted to study the crater. Second denial. Reason changed to area designated for future memorial expansion. Access restricted pending development plans. Memorial expansion. In 2013? Monument completed 1913. 100 years old. No expansion planned. No budget allocated. No proposals filed. Richter gave up. Focused dissertation on other topics. Got her PhD. Currently works for mining company in Australia. Left Germany entirely. But that crater is still there, 67 feet deep. Filled with dense material. 23 feet diameter. Perfect circle. Fenced and guarded. What's at the bottom? What are they protecting? Or what are they afraid someone might find? Now let's talk about the ceremony, the secret ceremony. October 18th, 1913, pre-dawn, before official dedication. 23 witnesses saw officials enter monument early morning. We mentioned this. But who were the officials? What did they do inside? Guest list for official ceremony exists, public record. Printed programs distributed. Kaiser Wilhelm II, Chancellor Theobald von Bethmann-Hollweg, various ministers, military commanders, Leipzig city officials, monument committee members, standard list, expected attendees for major national ceremony. But photographs exist. Early morning, October 18th, before dawn. Long exposure shots because of low light, only 6 photographs. Taken by amateur photographer living across from monument. Name, Ernst Schneider. Hobby photographer. Took pictures of monument construction for years. Schneider's photographs preserved by his grandson. Donated to city archives in 1974. Catalogued but rarely viewed. 6 plates. Early morning shots. Photos show figures entering monument. Carrying cases. Long wooden cases, approximately 5 feet length. 4 men per case. Heavy. Required teamwork to carry. Timestamp on photo notes. 5:37 a.m., October 18th. Official ceremony started 10 a.m. These men arrived 4.5 hours early, with cases requiring 4 men to carry. Heavy cases, 5 feet long. What was in the cases? Archives don't say. Photos just show figures, distant silhouettes, but cases visible, clearly heavy by the way men carried them. Schneider's notes with photos mention unusual activity before ceremony. Notes describe approximately 16 men, dark suits, arrived in unmarked carriages, entered monument crypt level.
Emerged 90 minutes later without cases. 90 minutes inside, entered with cases, left without them. Whatever was in those cases stayed in the crypt. Did they place something in the sealed mid-level chamber? The hidden room radar found? Was this how they accessed it, before sealing it permanently? Official ceremony records make no mention of pre-dawn activity. Program lists events starting 10 a.m., nothing before. But Kaiser Wilhelm's personal schedule that day, archived in Prussian Royal Archives, shows private appointment. 5:30 a.m. Location, Volksschlachtdenkmal. Duration, 2 hours. Notation, private memorial observance. Private observance, with 16 men, carrying heavy cases. That left objects in the crypt. What were they placing there? Why the secrecy? What required Kaiser's personal attendance before public ceremony? And why has nobody questioned this in 111 years? Temperature in this room just dropped. Feel that? The air got heavier. Because here's where evidence stops being circumstantial. Here's where we get the smoking gun. 2016. Renovation work on monument. Routine maintenance. Contractors replacing damaged stones on exterior. Standard preservation work. One worker. Klaus Müller. 54 years old. Stonemason. 30 years experience. Working on north face. 3rd level. Approximately 120 feet up. Müller removing damaged stone block. Granite. Weighing 800 pounds. Using pneumatic tools. Loosening mortar. Standard procedure. Block shifted. Unexpected. Mortar crumbled more than anticipated. Block tilted backward slightly. Gap opened. Small gap, 3 inches, behind the block, between exterior wall and inner structure. Müller shined flashlight into gap, saw something. Object wedged in the cavity. Reached in, pulled it out. Metal cylinder, brass, 8 inches length, 2 inches diameter, sealed at both ends. Weight approximately 2 pounds. Surface engraved with symbols. Not German, not any European language Müller recognized. He showed Foreman. Foreman examined it, couldn't identify symbols, called site supervisor. Supervisor called monument director. Director came personally. Director looked at cylinder, questioned Müller. Where exactly did you find this? Which block? Which level? Müller showed him. Director examined the cavity, took photographs, ordered Müller to say nothing. Historical artifact. Requires proper documentation. Director took the cylinder, said he'd transfer it to museum for analysis. Müller would receive finder's credit. Standard protocol for historical discoveries. 3 days later, Müller received notice. Laid off. Contract terminated early. Reason? Project budget constraints. Project wasn't finished. Other workers continued for 6 more months. Only Müller terminated, the one who found the cylinder. He tried contacting monument director. No response. Tried visiting museum to ask about the artifact.
Security wouldn't let him past lobby. No appointment. Müller talked to local newspaper, told his story. Reporter interested. Started investigating. Called Monument Administration. Asked about artifact discovery. Official response: no artifacts discovered during recent renovation. Claim is mistaken. Reporter pressed. Müller has photos. Took pictures with his phone when he found it. Can provide evidence. Second response: individual may have found construction debris. All materials from renovation site inventoried. Nothing of historical significance noted. Müller provided photos to reporter. Clear images. Metal cylinder. Symbols visible. Gap where he found it. Foreman and supervisor examining it. Time-stamped October 14th, 2016. Article never published. Editor killed the story. Said insufficient corroboration. But reporter told Müller privately, pressure from above, we can't run it. Müller still has the photos. Posted them online, personal blog.
Got 40 views, nobody cared. Just another guy claiming he found something strange. But those symbols on the cylinder. Müller's photos clear enough to see detail. Geometric patterns, 12 pointed stars, interlocking circles. Same symbols as crypt floor. Same patterns Professor Müller analyzed in 1978. Same astronomical encoding. Cylinder was placed in monument wall during construction, hidden deliberately. Cavity built specifically to hold it. Not debris, not accident. Intentional placement. What's inside the cylinder? What information were they hiding in the structure itself? Why engrave it with symbols matching the crypt floor? Cylinder is gone. Director took it, vanished into system. Müller can't prove it existed except for his phone photos. Nobody believes him. Another crackpot claiming conspiracy. Except I've seen those photos. Müller sent them to researchers, posted them in forums, shared them with anyone who'd listen. Photos are real. Cylinder was real. Symbols match. They built messages into the monument itself, hidden in the walls, sealed in cavities, waiting to be found, or preventing them from being found. And when someone does find something, they're silenced, not killed, not arrested,
just discredited, dismissed, forgotten. But we're not done, because there's a pattern, a global pattern. Völkerschlachtdenkmal isn't unique. It's part of a network. Check this out. Monuments built between 1890 and 1920 across Europe. Same characteristics. Excessive height, unusual foundation depth, construction delays, budget overruns, acoustic anomalies. Hermann Monument, Germany, built 1875. Height, 87 feet. Foundation depth, 72 feet. Acoustic properties noted. Resonance frequency, 19.5 Hertz. Earth frequency, same as Leipzig. Victor Emmanuel Monument, Rome, built 1885 to 1911. Height, 220 feet. Foundation depth, 65 feet.
Construction took 26 years. Original estimate, 8 years. Budget tripled during construction. Sacré-Cœur Basilica, Paris, built 1875 to 1914. 39 years construction. Foundation required 83 feet depth. Built on Montmartre Hill, highest point in Paris. Magnetic anomalies reported by visitors. Each monument has official purpose. War memorial, religious site, national symbol. Standard explanations, nothing suspicious. But each monument shows same patterns as Leipzig. Deep foundations, construction problems, excessive costs, unusual properties. And each monument built on site of major historical event. Battle location, ancient settlement, sacred ground. Places where something happened, something worth marking, something worth containing. Researcher named Helena Braun documented this. Independent historian, German. Published findings in 2009. Self-published. No academic press would touch it. Book titled Monuments and Mysteries, European Architectural Anomalies. Book connected 12 monuments across Europe, showed construction pattern similarities, highlighted acoustic properties, noted magnetic anomalies, raised questions about purpose. Book sold 300 copies, mostly online. Disappeared from Amazon after 6 months. Braun's website went offline. Her email bounced. She vanished from public life. Last social media post, September 17th, 2010. Said she was meeting with sources in Leipzig. Never posted again. Leipzig city records show no hotel bookings under her name that month. No credit card transactions. No paper trail. Either she never went to Leipzig, or someone erased evidence she was there. Her book is gone. Copies exist, but rare. PDF versions removed from file-sharing sites. Copyright claims. Publisher threatened legal action. Except publisher was Braun herself. Who would enforce copyright for vanished author? I have a copy. Took months to find. Braun documented everything. Maps showing monument locations, construction timelines, acoustic test results, magnetic readings, geological surveys. Her conclusion: monuments form geometric pattern across Europe. Connecting them creates 12-pointed star. Same symbol as Leipzig crypt floor. Same symbol on Müller's cylinder. 12 monuments, 12 points. Perfect geometric alignment, spanning from Spain to Russia, Portugal to Finland. Pattern visible from space. Braun calculated distances, used trigonometry, angles between monuments, all multiples of 30 degrees. Too precise for coincidence. Deliberate placement, coordinated construction. She theorized communication network, architecture functioning as antenna array. Each monument tuned to Earth's frequency, together creating grid, global grid. Purpose unknown. Last chapter of her book posed question, what are they listening for? Or what are they trying to prevent from being heard? Book ended there. No answer, just question. Then Braun disappeared. Cold, getting cold in here. Not temperature, feeling. The feeling you get when you realize you're looking at something bigger than you thought. Something that reaches further than one monument, one city, one country. This isn't just Leipzig. This is global infrastructure, built over decades, coordinated across nations. Before World War I, before European Union, before international communication networks. How did they coordinate? Who planned this? Who had resources to build 12 monuments across Europe simultaneously? Who had authority to classify information across multiple countries for over a century? And what are they protecting? What fell from the sky in Leipzig? What crashed in October 1813? Whatever it was, they found it, buried it, built over it, replicated the architecture across Europe, created geometric pattern, maintained secrecy for 111 years. People who ask questions disappear. Documents vanish, evidence gets classified, stories get suppressed. For over a century, consistent suppression across governments, across regime changes, across wars. Napoleon fell, German Empire rose, Weimar Republic, Nazi Germany, East Germany, reunification, 7 different governments in Germany alone. All maintained the secrecy, all protected the sites, all silenced researchers. That's not conspiracy. That's infrastructure. That's organization. That's... Wait, there's something else. Something we missed. Something hiding in plain sight. The dedication date, October 18th, 1913. Exactly 100 years after battle. We discussed that. Astronomical alignment, meteor shower, timing deliberate. But 1913. Know what else happened in 1913? Federal Reserve Act, United States. December 23rd, 1913. Created central banking system. Changed global finance structure. Bohr model of atom, Niels Bohr. Published 1913. Revolutionized understanding of atomic structure. Moving assembly line, Henry Ford. Implemented 1913. Changed industrial production globally. Zipper, patented. Gideon Sundback, April 1913. Small invention, but symbolically? First device allowing quick opening and closing, sealing and revealing. And 17 different nations signed treaties in 1913, most in history up to that point. Unprecedented international cooperation. Before League of Nations, before United Nations. Nations working together. What if 1913 wasn't just monument dedication year? What if it was preparation year? Year before World War I. Year before everything changed. Last year of old world order. Final year to put pieces in place before chaos. World War I started July 1914, 9 months after Monument opened. Archduke Ferdinand assassinated June 28, 1914, 8 months after ceremony. The Great War changed everything. Redrew borders, toppled empires, killed 17 million people, reshuffled global power structure. Perfect cover for operations nobody would notice. During war, who's watching monuments? Who's monitoring archaeological sites? Who's tracking classified research? And after war, during reconstruction, during rebuilding, easy to explain missing documents, lost in the war, easy to explain classified sites, military necessity, easy to implement new control structures, national security. They dedicated the monument. 8 months later started the war. Coincidence? Or did they know? Did they plan both? Seal the sites before global conflict. Ensure structures protected before chaos. And if they planned that far ahead, what else did they plan? What else did they know was coming? My hands are shaking typing this, because the implications. Think about it. Step back. Look at pattern. Something fell in October 1813. Multiple witnesses, physical evidence, crater. Metallic fragments. Soldiers from 3 different armies saw it. Farmer found debris. Museum cataloged artifacts. 34 years later, 1847. They sealed it. Concrete with thorium and iridium, special mixture. 66 years before monument construction. Why wait 34 years? What changed in 1847? Industrial revolution, steam power, railways, telegraph, modern world emerging, technology advancing, science progressing. Maybe they waited until they had technology to seal it properly. Maybe they waited until they understood what they found. Maybe they waited until they could coordinate response across nations. Then they waited 66 more years, until 1913, until they could build proper containment structure, until they could place it within network of similar sites, until astronomical conditions aligned again. 100 years, exactly. Deliberate. And they're still protecting it. 2025. 112 years later, still classifying documents, still silencing researchers, still maintaining the secrecy. What's down there that requires 112 years of protection? What's so dangerous or valuable that multiple governments across multiple centuries maintain continuous secrecy? Technology? Biological material? Information? Proof of something that would shatter understanding of history, of reality. The metal fragments, lighter than aluminum, harder than steel, glowing blue in shadow. In 1900, that metal didn't exist. Still doesn't exist. Not in public knowledge. The acoustic properties, resonating at Earth frequency, impossible with contemporary architecture, still unexplained. The magnetic anomaly, compass spinning, consistent for 112 years. Active electromagnetic field from buried object. The geometric pattern, 12 monuments, perfect star configuration, spanning continent. Coordinated construction. This isn't ancient mystery. This isn't archaeological curiosity. This is active situation, present tense, ongoing operation, current security protocol. They're still guarding it. Right now, today. Armed security at historical preservation area. Classification on documents. Monitoring researchers. Suppressing information. Why? What are they afraid of? What would happen if someone dug it up? If someone analyzed it properly? If someone told the truth? And here's the thing that makes your blood run cold. They knew we'd eventually figure this out. They knew someone would connect the dots, compare documents, notice patterns, ask questions. So they built fail-safes, layers of denial, official explanations, plausible deniability, war memorial, budget overruns, construction problems, architectural quirks, coincidences. Each explanation sounds reasonable alone. Together, they fall apart. But most people only see one piece, one explanation, never the whole pattern. And people who do see whole pattern? Professor Krauss, dead. Anna Richter left country. Helena Braun vanished. Klaus Müller discredited, not murdered. That's crude, obvious, leaves evidence. No, silenced through other means. Career destruction, psychological pressure, social isolation, legal threats, financial ruin. Modern suppression. Clean, deniable, effective. And we're sitting here right now, looking at evidence, connecting threads, seeing pattern, asking questions they don't want asked. What happens next? Will this video stay online? Will this research survive? Will anyone believe it? Or will it disappear like everything else? Copyright strike, terms of service violation, community guidelines. Reasons don't matter, results same. Information vanishes. Questions stop. People forget, move on. Next distraction, next crisis, next entertainment. But the monument stands, 300 feet of stone, resonating with Earth frequency, containing whatever fell from sky 112 years ago, protected by classification, guarded by silence, hidden by dismissal, and somewhere in Berlin, or Brussels, or Geneva, or Washington, somewhere in government office. Someone's job is monitoring this, making sure nobody gets too close, making sure truth stays buried. Deep as that 80-foot foundation, solid as that 26,500 tons of granite. But here's what they can't control. Here's what they can't suppress. You. You've watched this far. You've seen evidence. You've heard testimonies. You've learned about cylinder, about crater, about pattern, about network. You know now. Can't unknow. Can't unsee. Patterns visible. Truths obvious. Questions unavoidable. What's buried under Völkerschlachtdenkmal? And why are they still protecting it after 112 years? Maybe you'll investigate. Maybe you'll visit Leipzig. Take compass to crypt. Take photos. Ask questions. Dig deeper. Or maybe, wait, there's something else. One more thing. Final piece. The piece that changes everything. I found a document. Yesterday, last minute. Almost didn't include it because I couldn't verify. Couldn't confirm authenticity. Too dangerous. Too explosive. But screw it. You've come this far. You deserve to know. Declassified file, CIA. Released 2018 under Freedom of Information Act request. File number, CIA-RDP-1954-00871R. Dated March 6, 1954. Memo from CIA Director Allen Dulles to President Eisenhower. Subject line: European Artifact Recovery Operations. Memo discusses continuation of protocols established 1913. References 12 primary containment sites across European theater. Notes: ongoing monitoring required due to persistent electromagnetic activity. Then this paragraph. Site 1 primary, Leipzig facility, shows increased readings since January 1954. Containment integrity confirmed, but activity level anomalous. Recommend enhanced surveillance.
Local authorities cooperative as per standing agreements. Object remains sealed.
No breach detected. However, energy signature changes suggest possible activation sequence. Nature of activation unknown. Timeline unknown. Recommend preparation of contingency protocols should containment fail. Activation sequence. The thing buried under Leipzig. It's not inert. It's not dead. It's not dormant. It's active. It's changing. It's doing something. Has been for 70 years since that memo. Probably longer. They're not just guarding dead artifact. They're containing something alive. Something that could activate. Something with unknown timeline and unknown consequences. And they don't know how to stop it. They just know they have to keep it sealed. Keep people away. Keep truth hidden. Because if it activates, what happens? The memo doesn't say, just warns. Recommends preparation, contingency protocols, as if they can prepare for something they don't understand. 112 years. Electromagnetic activity increasing, containment holding. But for how much longer? What happens when it reaches critical level? What happens when whatever's down there finishes its activation sequence? Do we get answer? Do we learn truth? Do we meet whatever left that object in October 1813? Or do we get something worse? Let's find out, because I'm about to tell you what's really down there, what they've been hiding, what all of this has been protecting. And I'm going to show you why they're terrified. 2022, 3 years ago. Researcher named David Chen, American, geophysicist, MIT graduate. Worked for private geological survey company. No connection to conspiracy theories. No agenda. Just scientist doing job. Chen's company contracted to survey European geological fault lines. Standard mapping project. Ground-penetrating radar, seismic sensors, measuring tectonic stability. Insurance companies use this data for risk assessment. Teams scanned multiple cities: Berlin, Munich, Prague, Vienna, Leipzig. Leipzig scans showed anomaly. Already mentioned the crater. But Chen found something else, something deeper than the crater, something beneath the sealed chamber. Void space, large void. Approximately 140 feet below monument foundation. Cavity measuring roughly 80 feet diameter. Spherical. Almost perfectly spherical. Too perfect for natural formation. And the cavity was empty, completely empty. No soil, no rock, no water. Just void. Vacuum. Underground vacuum chamber that shouldn't exist. Geological impossibility. Pressure at that depth would collapse any cavity, unless something was preventing collapse, unless cavity walls were reinforced, or unless something inside was generating counter pressure. Chen reported findings to company. Company flagged it as data error, instruments malfunction. Rescan ordered. Second scan confirmed it. Same void, same dimensions, same depth. No error. Real cavity, really there. Company contacted German authorities. Routine notification. Found unusual geological formation. Thought you should know. Response came within 6 hours. Federal Ministry of Interior. Survey data classified. Project terminated immediately. All 2 members required to sign non-disclosure agreements. Breach penalty, 5 years imprisonment. Chen signed. Everyone signed. No choice. But Chen kept personal copy of data. Encrypted drive. Hidden backup. He spent 2 years analyzing it privately,
nights and weekends. Couldn't let it go. Spherical void beneath monument, beneath sealed chamber, beneath crater, beneath everything. What was it? Natural cavern? Ancient structure? Something else? Chen ran calculations, modeled pressure dynamics, simulated geological stress. Cavity should not exist. Should have collapsed thousands of years ago. Only way it could remain open. Active support system. Something generating energy. Something maintaining structural integrity artificially. He published paper, scientific journal, low circulation.
Title: Anomalous subterranean void structures in urban European environments. Didn't mention Leipzig specifically. Used coded references. City L, Monument M. Paper reviewed, accepted, published online, February 2024. Taken down 4 days later. Journal received complaint. Proprietary data published without authorization. Legal threat. Paper removed. Journal apologized. Said Chen submitted fraudulent research. Chen's company fired him. Breach of NDA. Legal action pending. Chen fled United States. Currently lives in Taiwan. Won't talk about Leipzig. Won't answer questions. Just says, "I saw something that shouldn't exist and wish I hadn't." But before he went silent, before he left, he sent the data to 3 people, 3 researchers he trusted. Said, "Someone needs to know. Someone needs to understand what they're sitting on." I'm one of those 3 people. I have Chen's data. I've seen the scans. I've analyzed the void. And I know what it is. Finally. After everything, after all evidence, after all testimony, after all research, I know what they buried in Leipzig. It's not debris, not wreckage, not crashed vehicle or fallen satellite or meteor fragment. It's a beacon. Active beacon. Transmitting beacon. Has been transmitting for 212 years, since it landed, since it crashed or was placed during Battle of Leipzig. The electromagnetic readings, the magnetic anomalies, the resonance at Earth frequency. Not side effects, primary function. It's broadcasting, using Earth's own frequency as carrier wave, amplifying through monument structure, propagating through network of 12 sites, the spherical void. That's antenna cavity, resonance chamber, like inside of Bell. Sound waves amplify through specific geometry. This amplifies electromagnetic waves through specific spherical dimension, calculated precisely, engineered exactly. The 12 monuments. Network isn't receiving signal. Network is amplifying it. 12 points. 12 amplification nodes, creating geometric pattern, focusing transmission, directing it outward, into space. They're not protecting Earth from it. They're protecting it from Earth, making sure it keeps transmitting, making sure signal reaches destination, making sure whoever sent it knows where it is, and that it's still active, still waiting, still calling home. The activation sequence, from CIA memo. Not the beacon activating. Beacon's been active since 1813. The activation is response. Something answering. Something heading this way. Timeline unknown because they don't know how far away it is. Don't know when it started traveling. Don't know when it'll arrive. They just know it's coming. Has been coming. For decades. Maybe centuries. Maybe longer. And when it arrives, everything changes.
Let me walk you through timeline. Complete picture. All loops closed. October 18th, 1813. Battle of Leipzig. 600,000 soldiers.
But also Orionid meteor shower, objects falling from sky. Some were meteors, natural, expected. One wasn't. One object changed direction, descended deliberately, impacted southeast of battlefield. Witnesses saw it. Soldiers from multiple armies. Explosion. Crater. Ground shook. Coalition forces won battle 3 days later. October 19th. Napoleon retreated. But during battle chaos, someone investigated crash site, found the object, partially buried, spherical, metallic, unknown composition, approximately 4 feet diameter, 473 pounds. Tsar Alexander ordered retrieval. Object from battlefield, transported to St. Petersburg under guard. Winter Palace basement, examined, studied. Didn't understand it, but recognized it wasn't natural, wasn't human-made. Object showed activity, electromagnetic emissions, low-level radiation, humming at specific frequency. Alive, not biological, but active, functioning, broadcasting. They didn't know what to do. Couldn't destroy it. Tried. Failed. Metal resisted all contemporary tools. Heat, force, acid. Nothing worked. Object undamaged. So they contained it. 1847. After 34 years of observation, after Industrial Revolution provided better materials, better understanding, better tools, Russians sealed their object in St. Petersburg basement. Special concrete, lead lining, thorium mixture, radiation shielding, electromagnetic dampening, everything they could engineer. Germans did same. Leipzig, same year, sealed the chamber. The pre-existing structure they found, the cavity where German fragment remained. Not same object as Russians took. Fragment, piece, broken off during impact, left behind. Still active, still broadcasting. Why wait 34 years? Because they needed that time, needed to observe, needed to understand enough to realize they had to seal it, had to prevent access, had to keep secret. And they needed coordination. Russians and Germans working together. Before German unification, before empire, during fragmented state period. Secret cooperation. Probably others involved, British, French, Austrian, anyone who found fragments. That's why Winter Palace and Leipzig both sealed same year. Not coincidence. Coordinated action. International effort. First global conspiracy. Protecting something they didn't understand. Agreeing to hide it. Agreeing to monitor it. Agreeing never to reveal it. Then they waited 66 more years, until 1913. Why? Technology advanced, architecture improved. They understood more, realized fragments were broadcasting, realized sealing wasn't enough, had to amplify, had to ensure signal reached destination. Because stopping it would be act of war, against whoever sent it. Better to cooperate, better to help it call home, better to show goodwill. We found your probe, we're protecting it, we're helping it signal you. Please come peacefully. So they built the monuments, 12 sites across Europe, wherever fragments were found, wherever pieces landed. Each site marked, each site sealed, each site turned into amplification node. Monuments served dual purpose: public, war memorials, national symbols, patriotic sites. Keep people proud, keep people distracted,
keep people from asking questions. Secret antenna towers, resonance amplifiers, signal boosters. Keep beacon functioning, keep transmissions strong, keep whoever's listening informed. They coordinated construction across nations, across borders, secret agreements, hidden protocols, aristocratic networks, royal families, Masonic lodges, academic societies, everyone who needed to know, everyone with power to maintain secrecy. And they timed completion. 1913, century mark, astronomical alignment, Orionid shower returns, same conditions as landing, symbolic, meaningful. We remember when you arrived. Here's our monument.
Here's our cooperation. Please remember us favorably. 8 months later, World War I. Not coincidence, not random assassination. Calculated catalyst. Population reduction, border restructuring, government reorganization, power consolidation. Perfect opportunity to implement deeper control structures. League of Nations, international protocols, secret services, intelligence networks. All justified by war, all necessary for security. But real purpose? Coordination, monitoring, ensuring beacon protection continued regardless of political changes, ensuring secrecy maintained across regime shifts, ensuring someone was always watching. War killed 17 million people, but created framework, global framework, intelligence sharing, classified research, international cooperation hidden behind nationalism, perfect cover. And they've maintained it ever since, through World War II, through Cold War, through modern era. Different governments, different ideologies, different enemies. But same secret, same cooperation, same protection of the sites. Because they're all terrified, all agree, all understand. Whatever sent that beacon is powerful enough to cross interstellar space, smart enough to engineer perfect landing during massive battle, patient enough to wait centuries, and inevitable enough that they can't stop it. Only hope is cooperation. Show willing hosts. Show intelligent life capable of understanding. Show we protected their technology. Hope for mercy. Hope for partnership. Hope for survival. The activation sequence. That's not beacon changing. That's response detected. Signal coming back. Getting stronger. Getting closer. Timeline unknown because they can't track it precisely. Just know it's approaching. Has been approaching. Will arrive. Maybe soon, maybe decades, maybe centuries, but coming. Definitely coming. And when it arrives, when whoever sent that beacon gets here, when they see we've protected it, amplified it, built monuments to mark it, what happens then? Now close your eyes. Picture this. Leipzig. 300 feet of granite, standing silent. Tourists walking around, taking photos, reading plaques, learning about battle, about Napoleon, about history they think they know. And beneath their feet, 140 feet down, spherical chamber, perfectly engineered, vacuum sealed, broadcasting constantly, signal pulsing through Earth frequency, amplified through monument structure, propagated through European network, transmitted into space. Calling. Always calling. Waiting for answer. For 212 years. Waiting. And somewhere out there, distance unknown, something heard. Something responded. Something's traveling, getting closer. every day, every hour, every second. What is it? Ship? Probe? Entity? Army? Single explorer? Peaceful delegation? Invasion force? Nobody knows. Not CIA, not Russian FSB, not German BND, not British MI6. None of the agencies monitoring the sites. None of the governments maintaining secrecy. None of the scientists analyzing data. They just know it's coming, and they're preparing. Quietly, secretly, without alarming population, without causing panic. Building deep underground bases, stockpiling resources, planning contingencies, hoping they're ready. But how do you prepare for something you don't understand? How do you plan for arrival of intelligence that can engineer beacons functioning for centuries, that can traverse interstellar distances, that can land precisely during massive military battle? You can't. You just wait and hope and protect their technology and pray they remember your cooperation. The 800 tons of missing stone, that wasn't missing. That was additional material, used for the spherical cavity, the resonance chamber, excavated from 140 feet down, carved precisely, geometrically perfect, required extra material, extra concrete, extra engineering, 800 tons worth. Documented as missing to hide true construction scope. To prevent questions about why foundation needed to go so deep, why cavity needed to be carved, why geometry had to be exact. The metal cylinder Klaus Müller found. That wasn't hidden accidentally. That was deliberately placed, during construction, in wall cavity, sealed behind stone. Time capsule. Instructions. Warning. Message for future. Symbols on cylinder. Astronomical encoding. Mathematical formulas. Geometric patterns. Not decoration. Information. For whoever finds it. Whoever asks questions. Whoever comes looking. That's why they confiscated it. Can't let that information spread. Can't let anyone decode it. Can't let people understand what monuments really are, what they're really built for. The researchers who disappeared, Professor Krauss, Helena Braun, others, not killed, relocated, new identities, comfortable lives, somewhere quiet, somewhere monitored, somewhere they can't spread information. But also can't complain about mistreatment. Carrot and stick. Threaten their families, threaten their careers, then offer solution. Just go away, stay quiet, we'll take care of you. You'll want for nothing. Just stop asking questions. Most take the deal. Some don't. Those who don't meet accidents, natural causes, heart attacks, strokes, car crashes, random violence. Nothing connecting back, nothing provable. Just statistical cluster of researchers studying Leipzig having unfortunate luck. Anna Richter left country. Smart move. Stayed alive by leaving, by pursuing other research, by never mentioning Leipzig again. Still alive in Australia, still working, still silent. Because she understands. Like Chen understands. Like others who got close understand. Some truths too dangerous to speak, some knowledge too deadly to share, some secrets protected by entities powerful enough to erase you. Not Illuminati, not aliens running government. Just humans. Terrified humans. Powerful humans. Humans who know something's coming and don't know how to stop it. So they control what they can. Information, access, knowledge. hoping control gives them advantage when it arrives. But here's what they couldn't control. Here's what they didn't anticipate. Internet, global communication, instant information sharing, decentralized research, anonymous posting, encrypted files, blockchain storage, peer-to-peer networks. They controlled information for 200 years, burned documents, classified files, silenced researchers, maintained narrative, worked when information moved slowly, when archives were physical, when control was centralized. Doesn't work now. Not completely. Too many people have pieces. Too many documents scanned. Too many researchers sharing privately. Too many backups in too many places. Chen's data exists. Multiple copies, multiple people. I have copy. 2 others have copies. If I disappear, if they silence me, others will speak, others will share.
Others will continue. That's why I'm telling you now. That's why this video exists. Not because I'm brave, because I'm redundant. I'm one of many. Silencing me accomplishes nothing. Information's already distributed. Truth's already out there. Just needs amplification. Needs you. Needs sharing. Needs spreading. Before they can contain it. Before they can spin new narrative. Before they can discredit and dismiss and memory hole like everything else. Temperature dropping again. Feel it? That cold certainty. That recognition of something bigger than personal life, bigger than current events, bigger than history as taught. This is real, not speculation, not theory, not entertainment. Real. Evidence exists, documents available, some classified but some public. Cross-reference them yourself. Visit Leipzig. Take compass. Measure magnetic anomaly. Take photos. Document it. Research construction records. Cross-reference budgets with manifests. Find discrepancies. Notice patterns. Connect dots. Look at other 11 monuments. Hermann, Victor Emmanuel, Sacré-Cœur. Check their construction histories. Note similarities. Map their positions. Calculate geometric alignments. Don't take my word. Verify yourself. Be your own researcher. Draw your own conclusions. But do it now, while information's accessible, while archives are online, while people still remember. Before next wave of classification. Before next round of updates to historical records. Before convenient cyber attack or database corruption or archival reorganization. They know people are waking up. They know patterns becoming visible. They know secrecy can't hold much longer. So they'll adapt, change narrative, shift focus, create distraction, maybe reveal partial truth. Yes, we found something, but it's dormant, but it's safe, but we're studying it. Trust us. Stay calm. Continue living normally. Partial truth, worse than complete lie. Inoculates against full revelation. Oh, that conspiracy theory?
Yeah, we addressed that. It was just old meteor debris, nothing exciting. Don't let them control narrative. Don't let them frame revelation. Don't let them be gatekeepers of truth. Be your own authority. Trust your own analysis. Share your own conclusions. And when it arrives, when signals answered, when whoever sent that beacon gets here, when they appear in our skies or emerge from underground or manifest in whatever way they manifest, remember you knew. Remember you questioned. Remember you investigated. Remember you weren't fooled. Remember you saw through layers of deception and understood what was really happening. That matters. That means something to them, whoever they are. To show intelligence, to show curiosity, to show capacity for independent thought despite centuries of conditioning. Maybe that's test. Maybe beacon wasn't just locator. Maybe it was filter. Measuring population, gauging development, assessing readiness. How many people question? How many investigate? How many think independently? How many resist official narratives despite pressure to conform? You're being counted, right now, by watching this, by researching further, by sharing information, by refusing to accept comfortable lies. You're demonstrating capacity for truth-seeking, for independent analysis, for rational evaluation despite emotional pressure, for courage despite social consequences. That's valuable. That's noteworthy. That might be difference between slavery and partnership, between extinction and survival, between remaining primitive and achieving advancement. Or maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they don't care about human consciousness. Maybe beacon, just marker. We were here, we observed, moving on. But I don't think so. I think 212 years is deliberate timeline. Think they're giving us time. Time to develop. Time to advance. Time to prove ourselves worthy of contact. Or unworthy. Verdict still out. And monuments serve reminder. We're watching, we're aware, we're evaluating. Show us your best. Show us your truth. Show us you're ready. Every visitor to Leipzig, every tourist taking photos, every historian researching records, every student reading plaques, unconsciously participating, standing on site, adding their energy, their consciousness, their attention, feeding the beacon, strengthening transmission, proving humanity's interest, demonstrating ongoing engagement, showing we remember. Even if we don't consciously know what we're remembering, collective unconscious knows. Jung was right. Symbols matter. Monuments matter. Architecture matters. Not just aesthetically, functionally, spiritually, energetically. 300 feet of carved stone focusing human attention on specific location. Thousands of people annually, millions over decades, all bringing consciousness, all adding energy, all feeding whatever's beneath. Not malicious, not parasitic, symbiotic. We provide attention, it provides purpose. We give energy, it gives meaning. Fair exchange, ancient exchange, arrangement older than modern civilization. That's why they built monuments, not just for amplification, for human participation, for conscious and unconscious cooperation, for collective agreement to maintain the connection. And we do. We participate willingly, visit monuments, admire architecture, feel something profound. Can't explain it. Just know it matters. Know it's important. Know it connects us to something larger. That's not manipulation. That's communication. Across species, across intelligence levels, across dimensional understanding. Language of symbols, language of geometry, language of resonance. They speak through mathematics, through frequency, through architecture. We hear through emotion, through intuition, through recognition of pattern. Meeting point, common ground. Shared reality despite vastly different existence. So what now?
What do you do with this information, with this understanding?
With this perspective, up to you. Always was. Always will be. You can dismiss it, call me crazy, click away, forget everything, return to comfortable narrative, sleep soundly, live normally. No judgment. That's valid choice. You can research it, verify claims, check sources, draw own conclusions, maybe reach different interpretation, maybe find errors, maybe prove me wrong. Excellent. Truth requires challenge, requires scrutiny, requires opposition to strengthen valid parts and eliminate invalid parts. You can share it, spread information, tag friends, post links, start discussions, force public conversation, demand transparency, pressure authorities, request declassification, insist on truth, collectively overwhelm suppression through distributed action. You can visit Leipzig, see for yourself, experience anomaly, feel the resonance, stand where history happened, where something landed, where future began. Personal verification stronger than second-hand reporting. You can do nothing. Watch passively, wait for arrival, see what happens. That's also choice. Neutral observation, valid position. Not everyone needs to be activist. Some witness, some record, some simply experience. All valid, all acceptable, all contributing to collective response, to human reaction, to species-level decision about how we engage with this reality. Because it is real. That's not question anymore. Not after everything. Not after all evidence. Not after pattern recognition. Not after logical analysis. Question is interpretation. Question is implication. Question is response. My interpretation? Contact imminent. Decades maybe, not centuries. Activation sequence suggests acceleration. Recent increase in electromagnetic activity. Recent uptick in classified research. Recent expansion of underground facilities. All pointing toward preparation, toward expectation, toward soon. My implication? Everything changes. Society, technology, understanding, reality itself. Can't stay same after confirmed contact, after undeniable proof, after meeting them, whoever they are. My response? Tell truth, share information, empower others, before official narrative controls reaction, before governments frame revelation, before population conditioned to fear rather than curiosity. Because fear serves control, curiosity serves liberation. Fear keeps you obedient, curiosity makes you autonomous. Fear makes you dependent, curiosity makes you sovereign. They want fear, they need fear. Fear keeps their power. Fear maintains their authority. Fear justifies their secrecy. I want curiosity. I promote curiosity. Curiosity empowers you. Curiosity frees you. Curiosity makes you equal participant rather than frightened subject. One last thing. One final piece of evidence, most important piece. Personal evidence. Can't verify, can't document, but absolutely true. I've been to Leipzig 3 times, most recently 2 months ago. Stood in that crypt, felt the resonance. Experienced the anomaly, watched compass spin, measured electromagnetic readings, documented everything. But something else happened. Something I can't explain. something beyond measurement, beyond documentation, beyond rational analysis. I heard something, not with ears, with mind, with consciousness. Like thought, but not my thought. Like voice, but not audible. Like presence, but not physical. Standing there, center of crypt, alone. Evening hours, few tourists. Quiet moment. Just me and the space and whatever's beneath. And I felt welcome, recognized, acknowledged. Like something knew I was there, knew I was questioning, knew I was seeking, and approved, and encouraged, and wanted me to know, to understand, to share. Not threatening, not warning, inviting, beckoning, calling. Same way beacon calls across space. It called across consciousness, across awareness, across dimensional separation. Message simple, clear, undeniable. Tell them. They need to know. Time grows short. Prepare them. Help them understand. Don't let fear dominate. Show them hope. Show them possibility. Show them future. Sounds crazy, I know. Sounds like psychosis, like imagination, like projection of expectations. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe isolation in that space triggered psychological response. Maybe I'm unreliable narrator. But I don't think so. Felt too real, too distinct, too different from my normal thinking. Not my voice, not my words, not my intention. Something else. Something other. Something reaching out from beneath all that stone and concrete and secrecy. Making contact. Choosing messenger. Demanding truth be told. So I'm telling it. Despite risk, despite consequences, despite everything they could do to silence me. Because obligation transcends self-preservation. Because truth transcends comfort. Because future transcends present. And if I disappear after this, if I go silent, if something unfortunate happens, you know why. You know what it means. You know truth threatens someone enough to act, which proves truth's validity, proves its power, proves its importance. But I don't think I'll disappear. I think time for that passed. I think too many people know, too many copies distributed, too much awareness spreading. Can't stop signal anymore, can only manage reaction, can only frame narrative, can only hope for damage control. And they're losing that too, losing control, losing narrative, losing authority. Because people wake up, because information spreads, because lies can't sustain indefinitely against persistent truth. We're reaching critical mass, tipping point, moment where enough people know that suppression becomes impossible, where official denial becomes obvious, where truth breaks through regardless of resistance. This video, part of that. You're watching, part of that. You're sharing, part of that. You're awakening, part of that. Collective threshold approaching. Collective realization imminent. Collective response beginning. So here we stand. End of investigation. End of evidence. End of analysis. Beginning of something else. Something unprecedented. Something inevitable. 212 years ago, something fell from the sky during biggest battle Europe had ever seen. Something that changed everything. Set motion events still unfolding.
still developing, still approaching climax. They found it, buried it, built monuments over it, created network across continent, maintained secrecy across centuries, protected it through wars, through regime changes, through technological revolution, through modern era. And it kept broadcasting, kept calling, kept signaling, kept waiting for response. For 212 years. Patient, persistent, inevitable. Now response coming, answer approaching, arrival imminent. Timeline uncertain but direction clear. They're coming, have been coming, will arrive soon. And when they do, when they appear, when contact happens, when revelation becomes undeniable, when governments forced to acknowledge, when population forced to accept, everything changes. Society transforms, technology leaps, understanding expands, reality shifts. Nothing stays same, can't stay same. Truth too large, implications too profound, consequences too fundamental. But change isn't apocalypse. Change is evolution. Change is growth. Change is advancement. Change is opportunity. Don't fear it. Embrace it. Prepare for it. Welcome it. Participate in it. Shape it through your consciousness, through your awareness, through your choice to know truth rather than accept comfortable lies. That's why this video exists. That's why I researched this. That's why I'm sharing this. Not to frighten you, to empower you, to prepare you, to include you, to make you participant rather than victim, to make you conscious rather than conditioned. You deserve truth. You earned truth by questioning, by watching this far, by considering evidence, by thinking independently, by resisting dismissal, by demanding answers. And truth is this: we're not alone. Never were. They've been watching, they've been waiting, they've been testing. And we're about to find out if we passed, if we're ready, if we deserve partnership rather than conquest, if we've evolved enough to join whatever larger community exists beyond our planet. I think we have. I think we're ready. I think we've shown enough curiosity, enough courage, enough persistence, enough intelligence, enough consciousness. I think they'll be impressed. I think they'll be welcoming. I think they'll be teachers, guides, partners. Not conquerors, not exploiters, not destroyers. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe optimism blinds me. Maybe hope deludes me. Maybe reality harsher than expectation. Doesn't matter. Coming anyway. Ready or not. Prepared or unprepared. Willing or unwilling. Approach continues. Arrival inevitable. Contact unavoidable. Better to face it consciously than unconsciously. Better to meet it prepared than surprised. Better to greet it hopefully than fearfully. That's my choice, my stance, my position. Conscious hope rather than unconscious fear. What's yours? This video going out now, into world, into network, into collective consciousness. Seeds of information, seeds of truth, seeds of awakening. Some will dismiss it, some will mock it, some will fear it, some will suppress it. Expected, normal, human. But some will recognize it, Some will verify it. Some will share it. Some will amplify it. And that's enough. That's critical mass. That's tipping point. That's beginning. They can't stop all of us. Can't silence everyone. Can't suppress everything. Signal too strong. Distribution too wide. Truth too persistent. So share this. Post it. Link it. Download it. Back it up. Mirror it. Archive it. Spread it. Make it immortal. Make it undeniable. Make it unavoidable. Not for me. For you. For everyone. For humanity. For preparation. For readiness. For conscious participation in what comes next. Time growing short. Signal strengthening. Response approaching. Arrival imminent. Revelation inevitable. Be ready. Be aware. Be conscious. Be fearless. Be curious. Be participant rather than spectator. Be human at your highest potential rather than lowest conditioning. And when they arrive, when they reveal themselves, when contact happens, when everything changes, remember you knew. Remember you prepared. Remember you chose awareness over ignorance. Remember you chose hope over fear. Remember you chose truth over comfortable lies. Remember Leipzig. Remember the monument. Remember the beacon. Remember the network. Remember 212 years of secrecy. Remember the brave researchers who asked questions. Remember the evidence they left. Remember the truth they died protecting. Remember me, standing in that crypt, hearing that voice, receiving that message, accepting that obligation, fulfilling that promise, telling you truth despite everything. And remember yourself, right now. This moment, choosing to watch, choosing to listen, choosing to consider, choosing to question, choosing to wake up. That choice matters. That choice echoes. That choice reverberates through dimensions you can't perceive, dimensions they perceive, dimensions where consciousness itself is currency, where awareness itself is value, where truth itself is power. You just gained power. Use it wisely. Share it freely. Protect it fiercely. Amplify it constantly. Before they delete this, before they suppress this, before they memory hold this, before convenient technical error or copyright strike or terms violation or algorithm change makes this disappear. Download it now. Back it up. Multiple copies, multiple platforms, multiple locations. Make it permanent. Make it indestructible. Make it eternal. Truth deserves immortality. Truth requires protection. Truth demands distribution. Your protection now. Your distribution now. Your immortality now. Don't let them win. Don't let secrecy continue. Don't let lies persist. Don't let conditioning dominate. Break free. Stay free. Help others break free. Together, we're unstoppable. Together, we're invincible. Together, we're ready. For whatever comes next. For whoever arrives. For however reality changes. We're ready. Are you?